Hey, beautiful people. How are we doing today? Ryan Hamer here. Today, I want to talk to you guys about your connections with other people. And sometimes you can be with somebody, but you're not with that person. You can love that person, but you're not in love with that person. And sometimes that's okay. A lot of times we end up in situations in which we don't realize how unconnected we are with that other person. And I heard this one and I can't take credit for it, so I'll share it with you. The saying was, you'll never be good enough. You'll never be good enough for the wrong person. And I'm going to expound upon that. It's so true. Think about it. If you have, and I'm going to throw another one at you, you can never satisfy the ungrateful. You can never make that ungrateful person happy. And so we're on that side of things where there's a person that's never satisfied and never happy with what you do, with what you say, with whatever efforts you put forward. They will always have something to say in a negative light, to make you feel bad, to belittle you in some way, shape, or form. So there are a lot of divorced people out there that know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people that are broken up that know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people that haven't spoken up that know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people that are suffering in silence that know what I'm talking about. When you are with that person who does not appreciate you or value your worth and what you bring to the relationship, what you bring to the table of that relationship, they see through you to the mirror behind you so that they can see themselves. They do not see you for you. They are standing around you, but not beside you. They're not with you. They talk at you. They don't talk to you. They don't talk with you. And when you're in a situation like this, when you're in a relationship like this, it certainly becomes problematic because that's when resentment and frustration festers and builds into something completely and utterly unhealthy for you or the other person. And this is not just in relationships, this could be in friendships. There are a lot of times that we have what I like to call unequally weighted friendships, because you'll have somebody who is a user, or you'll have someone who abuses your kindness or your generosity because of that which they receive is bountiful and plentiful, and their cup runneth over with your offerings and what you give. And the taker will take without limitations. They will take without impunity. They will take without consideration of what you might be going through or what you had to get or go through to be able to provide financially, emotionally, romantically, or physically. They have no clue, and even if they do, they just don't care. They have no problem leaving you in a state of despair. They have no problem of leaving you in a state of ill repair. They have no problem leaving you insolvent, financially destitute. And they have no problem bankrupting your heart. They have no problem taking all of your emotions and keeping them for themselves. They have no problem abusing your body, sexually or physically. They have no problem enjoying that and taking from you to satisfy whatever their needs are in that moment, in that situation. So when you have relationships that are unhealthy like that, you have to count your blessings when you end up parting ways, when you end up going in your own direction. If they cut you off, or if you have the courage to move and walk away, you can't be looking back, wishing and wanting that to have done it sooner, because as I usually say that every season has a reason, right? Every path must run its course. So in that moment when the relationship ended, you take and you learn from it and you realize that, you know what? I'm not supposed to be there now, but maybe I was supposed to be there before to learn the lesson. the other video that I did previously, where we talked about sometimes the L in the loss is the lesson that you couldn't see, the lesson that you didn't know that you were learning in the moment, in the spirit, in the time. And sometimes you don't get it until it's too late, or you don't get it until later. You don't get it until you're introspective and self-reflective, and you look at it and you say, hey, boy, did I dodge a bullet. It took me a couple of years, or it took me a couple of months, or what have you, but you learned from it. And the key to learning from a situation, the key to learning from a failed relationship, marriage, friendship, whatever, are the nuggets that you take forward and that you're able to walk into the next relationship with, or when you go into that cocoon phase and when you heal from your previous situation. And you gotta take time to heal. You gotta take time to reflect and look at yourself. Not for what you did wrong, or not necessarily for what the other person did to you, but how you have grown from the situation. And look, we all get caught up. We all get caught up in relationships that don't fill our purpose, that don't fill our needs, that don't satisfy our soul. And when your soul is thirsty in a relationship that you're in, you got to take time to rejuvenate. You got to take time to replenish. And if it means separating, if it means taking time for yourself, and if it means working on you, that's what's important. So much can and has been said about self-care. Self-care is so important. And nobody really talks about the mental side of it. And you can do self-care from going and getting a massage. It's not just about having verbal therapy or going and speaking to somebody and all that stuff, right? The little things that you do for yourself have exponential butterfly effects that can rejuvenate your soul and get your psyche back in gear. So I just want to encourage each and every one of you, when you look at situations in your life, especially the relationships and especially the friendships that have ended or that are in disarray, if you can't get them in order, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Kenny Rogers had it right. Too many of us do not allow ourselves to be the person to initiate the departure. Or we say, oh, you know what, I'll leave it up to them. And then when it does happen, you wonder, where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? Was it my fault? And if it was your fault, okay. You got to eat that and you got to own it and accept it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't beat the other person up over it. Sometimes you got to own your space and place in a situation. And when you take that, it's not just a matter of earning it, it's also a matter of owning it. I think that's what I should have said. When you own it, that's when you look at yourself in the mirror and you recognize, well, hey, I could have done this differently. Well, hey, I shouldn't have said that. And it's all right, because sometimes when you're angry, you say things you shouldn't say. Not condoning it, but you do. You're emotional. That's why in another video we talked about responding to a situation and reacting to a situation. They're two totally different things. When you react, you're reacting based on specific emotion, right? You're not responding to a situation thoughtfully. You're not responding to a situation with calculated thoughts and concerted efforts, where you consider your feelings and you consider the other person's feelings. I'm not going to let them talk to me like that. Oh, I'm going to hurt them because I'm hurt. And what do we always say? Hurt people hurt people. Right? So when you look at yourself in situations, sometimes you'll have people that you just can't please, you just can't satisfy. You might be one of those people. You might be one of those people where when you're doing your self-reflection, you look at it and you say, well, why did he leave me? Why did he cheat on me? Why did she leave me? Why did she cheat on me? Was I lacking? And when you stop and take stock of your actions and you have a serious sit down with your psyche, with your soul, and you're sitting alone and you're writing down on a piece of paper, what could I have done differently? What did I do? What did I say? Why do I feel this way? Why does this bother me so much? There are reasons sometimes where you have contributed to the state of a situation. It's not always the victim. You can't always be the victorious victim. And if your friends don't tell you, I will. Sometimes it's about you. It's not always about the other person. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Please take the opportunity to comment, like, or share if this video resonates with you. And I'll talk to you next time. My name is Ryan, and I'm out.